Hi, family. So, we are going to be reading out of Don't Believe Everything You Think. It's been a minute. We are currently on chapter 7. My grandma can't see, so we're going to give her glasses. She said she wanted to join me while I read to you guys. So, yeah, we're going to do that. Broke my remote yesterday because I crashed out. I was so mad that my internet wasn't working and everything was going so slow. I was so mad. I think I have anger issues or bipolar because I crashes out. And I crash out the most when I'm by myself. It's just things I just get so angry to the point that's why I need this book in my life because I get so mad whenever I have to call somebody. Like I had to call for my internet yesterday, and the automated system pisses me off every time I have to talk to it. I yell at the automated system even though it don't do anything. I'm always yelling like customer service. God, it be making me want to throw my fucking phone because why the fuck is these automated systems in the fucking way? Move the fuck around and give me a real person. Give me a real person. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and start reading chapter 7. If thinking is the root cause of suffering, how do we stop thinking? And the quote for this chapter is: a crowded mind leaves no space for a peaceful heart. Truth. I can agree with that. I can definitely agree with that. Let me go ahead and put these in my ears real quick because I like to hear myself talk. Testing. Good, good, good. All right. So, heaven and hell, a Zen parable. So, this is a parable that I'm about to read. Okay. A tough, brawny samurai once approached a Zen master deep in meditation. Impatient, this discourteous, wait, impatient and discourteous, the samurai demanded his husky voice, so accustomed to forceful yelling. Tell me the nature of heaven and hell, is what he's asking the Zen master while the Zen master is meditating. So he's actually interrupting the Zen master. All right. The Zen master opened his eyes, looked the samurai in the face, and replied with a certain scorn. Why would I answer to a shabby, disgusting, despondent slob like you? That was the perfect way to respond because who the fuck you coming over here trying to demand answers from me while I'm deep in meditation? Like, why would I even want to give an answer to you? You coming over here rude as fuck. Like, move the fuck around. I'm finna teach you in a minute. I ain't even gonna have to say it. A worm like you? Do you think I should tell you anything? I can't stand you. Get out of my sight. I have no time for silly questions. I think he's teaching him by saying this shit to him. He's teaching him what heaven and hell is. Cause we all know if you know, you know. The samurai could not bear these insults. Consumed by rage, he drew his sword and raised it to sever the master's head at once. Looking straight into the samurai's eyes, the Zen master tenderly declared, that's hell. Wow. That's hell. The samurai froze. I wonder why he froze. He froze because he had to sit there and think, like, I'm the reason I'm going through hell. The samurai froze. He immediately understood that anger had him in its grip. His mind had just created his own hell, one filled with resentment, hatred, self defense, and fury. He realized that he was so deep in his torment that he was ready to kill somebody. Like I've said before, You have to treat these emotions like anger. You have to treat them like something, like it's a being, it's a entity or something. Because once you allow anger, a lot of times we blame people for why we get angry and things like that, and understood. But when you allow anger to consume you, anger will cause you to do some shit you never would do without anger being within you. See, you got to look at anger as a monster. Anger ain't finna come consume me. Sometimes anger is good. But in instances where anger overtakes your body to the point you go and murder somebody, and then you wake up out of all of that delusion on all of that, it's not delusion, but you wake up out of that and you come to your senses and you're like, damn, I would have never have done that if I wasn't angry. So you allowed yourself to get so low to the point your energy field was open for a bunch of entities to come take over you. You allowed anger to come in and take over you. And anger controlled your body to the point you did some shit you would have never did. So instead of trying to justify and be like, see, I'm justified for this, and it's understandable when some people why some people do some of the things that they do, but is it good for you 2 weeks down the line when everything has settled and now you're just sitting in jail? Because anger is the root cause of this whole experience that you're having in this jail cell, because you allowed anger to overtake you. That's why I always say your reaction holds all the power. Yes. Okay. So understand that. You got to learn these things. You got to learn these things. Okay. The samurai's eyes filled with tears. Setting his sword aside, he put his palms together in I don't know this word. Um, obsequiously bowed in gratitude for this insight. The word I'm having trouble with is obsequiously. If any of y'all know how to pronounce that word, please put it in the comments. Thanks. For this insight, the Zen master gently acknowledged with a delicate smile, and that's heaven. So he surrendered and he understood what the Zen master was trying to teach him. And the Zen master told him that now that's heaven, because now you understand. Now you are aware. And in the fact that you are aware, you killed the anger that was within you. Because remember, this samurai came rude and disrupted the Zen master's meditation, being very, very rude. So the Zen master starts throwing insults at him, which caused him to get angry, which now called, because he didn't have to react that way. He didn't have to get offended by those insults. The Zen master knew that he would get offended by the insults because he just knew. And being that he got insulted, he created his own hell because he couldn't take those insults and things like that. And so when he told him that's hell and he understood, now he says that's heaven, and he understood even more. And now it's really about the mind. It's the mind, you know. It's not possible to just entirely stop thinking, but we can reduce the time we spend thinking so that it gets smaller and smaller each day that passes. Eventually, we can get to the point where we spend most of our day not caught up in our thinking and live in a blissful state most of the time. When we say that we want to stop thinking, many people assume that we are trying to stop all thoughts in general. That isn't what we're trying to do. Now that you know the difference between thoughts and thinking, We are working on allowing thoughts to come and flow through us while we minimize the thinking about those thoughts that emerge. And for those of you who are confused or about thoughts versus thinking, because a lot of people think that thoughts and thinking are the same thing, and totally understandable. But are thoughts are something you can't control. You will have thoughts come into your mind that aren't even your thoughts. You can't control some thoughts, but it's when you get a specific thought and you start focusing on that thought, that's where thinking comes in. Once you start to focus on a specific thought that comes into your mind, because like I said, you cannot control the thoughts that's coming into your mind, but you can control focusing, a.e., thinking of those thoughts. For example, you're sitting outside on the balcony and you're looking at the trees and you're amazed, like, oh my, you have all these thoughts. Wow, what if the trees start talking to me? What if the tree starts walking? Oh my god, wildlife is good. Oh my god, wildlife is bad. And now then you stop at that thought. You stop at wildlife is bad. So now when you stop at that thought and start focusing on that thought, that's thinking. And so when you start thinking that wildlife is bad, that's when the universe steps in and starts giving you more thoughts resonated with that thought of wildlife is bad. Then you're going to start thinking of all the animals eating other animals and things like that. And it's just, our thinking is really the cause of our suffering. And I'm starting to understand that even more as I read this book. Excuse me. What the fuck, yo? Shit. Pissing me off, yo. Okay, I'm sorry. Anyway, let's continue. So that's the difference between thought and thinking. Thoughts are something you can't control. Thought is like a thing floating in the air and it comes into you. And thinking is focusing on one of those thoughts that enter your mind. All right. The most interesting and almost paradoxical thing about stopping our thinking is that we don't have to do anything to minimize it other than to be aware of it. By us becoming aware that we are thinking and that it is the root cause of all our suffering, it automatically makes us conscious to that fact and we become detached to it, allowing it to settle and pass. This takes almost no effort and it's done through pure presence in the moment. Okay. Here's an analogy from one of my mentors that illustrates this concept. Imagine I give you a bowl of cloudy, dirty, murky water. If I asked you, how would you make the water clear? How would you do it? Take 15 seconds to see what answers you come up with. Hmm. I mean, I don't know. I would say filter, some type of filter, or um yeah, get it, go buy a filter or something, or boil the water. I don't know. Shit, don't we supposed to, like, when we have boil orders? I remember years ago when we had a boil order and we had to boil water. We had to boil, they told us we had to boil our water before we drank it. So, and that will clean all the stuff out of the water or whatever. So that's what I would assume. That's what I would do. Okay. Take 15 seconds to see what answers you come up with before moving on. Okay, most people say something like filtering. Wow, and I never read this chapter yet. Never read this chapter. That just lets you know that that's the normal answer. Most people, if they're asked this question, that's something that they would say. That's just the common answer. All this hair in my face. Anyway, Yeah. Filtering the water or even boiling it. Common answers. The common answers. Excuse me. Make sure. Okay. Boiling it. What most people don't realize is that if we let the bowl of dirty water sit for a period of time, we can see that the dirt begins to settle in its own in the water. And after a while, the water becomes clear on its own. That is so true. That is so true. How many of y'all had a bowl of fucking ramen noodles sitting on the counter, and you sat it there for so long to the point you see the seasoning settle at the bottom of the fucking bowl and everything else is kind of clear around? Like, that makes sense. I never thought of it that way. Never thought of it that way. You just leave the dirty ass water alone. That shit will settle. Meaning, which I'm interpreting, which they're probably meaning, if you just sit with your thoughts, you ain't got to control them or anything. They will settle. Your mind will become calm. If you got a lot of things going on in your mind, just sit in that. Sit in that. And it'll settle. Everything will become calm. This is how our minds also work. If we let our thinking sit without disturbing it by trying to filter or boil it, the thinking will settle down on its own and our minds will become free from thinking. The natural state of water is clear, and the natural state of our minds is also clear if we do not disturb it. If life begins to feel unclear, disorganized, and stressful, and you're not sure what to do next, you now know that it's only because your thinking is stirring up the dirt, making your mind cloudy and difficult to see ahead. You can use this as an indicator to help you realize you're thinking too much, okay? Once we become aware of the fact we are only feeling what we're thinking, and that thinking is the root cause of our unpleasant experience, we see it for what it truly is. Then we allow it to settle by giving it space, and slowly we will see how we begin to have a clear mind again, okay? Um, mm-mm, mm-mm. No, can't wait. All right. You can also compare thinking to quicksand. The more we fight our thinking, the more it amplifies negative emotions and worsens them. The same is true for quicksand. If we're in quicksand, the way out isn't to fight it. If we panic and frantically try to fight it, it only makes things worse by tightening the grip it has on us by pulling us under faster. The only way out is to stop struggling and allow your body's natural buoyancy to take over to bring you back to the surface easily. The only way to break free from our thinking is to let go and trust our natural inner wisdom will guide us back to clarity and peace like it always has. This reminds me of something. I remember some years ago, my sister right under me, she told me she had a dream, and it was a weird dream for her, and it did kind of sound weird. And a lot of times, my sisters, sometimes if they have dreams or they have questions, they'll come to me with them just to see if just to just for me to help them come up with what it might mean. Like, I don't know everything, but I know enough to know that, hey, let's see what this means and let's talk about what's going on in your life right now. So, so she had this dream where she said she was in an ocean and she was just floating in the water, but every time she panicked, she would drown and go under, and it was like she couldn't breathe and things like that. But as soon as her mind, like, she told herself relax, she start floating again, and so, and it was a weird dream. So I told her, I'm like, um I told her something to the point of, you need to start relaxing. Stop trying to control things. You need to relax. Let go and let life. You can't Don't try to control the things that you can't, because it's only causing stress. It's only causing stress. So once you relax, that's why you float. It's I feel like it's your dream just telling you you need to stop trying to control everything, or you just need to relax. Trust in the relaxation. Everything is going to be okay. Okay. If you find yourself fluctuating between thinking and non thinking, know that it is completely okay and quite normal. There is no way that we can remain in a state of, excuse me, in a state of non thinking every second of the day. And if we try to make that a goal, we will cause ourselves to suffer by forcing ourselves back into thinking again. We are spiritual, infinite beings having a physical, finite experience. Because of this, we are living a gateway between, we are a living gateway between a human and the divine. So we will naturally oscillate between the two states of feeling anxious, stress, and joyful, peaceful. We cannot control or prevent the oscillation between thinking and non thinking, but we can minimize the time spent thinking and thus create more moments where we feel joyful, peaceful, passionate, and full of love. Yeah, I've said this before. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. This body is equivalent to a spaceship or a car. This body is the vehicle that we need in order to navigate this realm or earth or whatever you want to call it. Without the body, we would not be able to feel the five senses. In order to experience the five senses, which is touch, taste, smell, hear, sound, or whatever, in order to experience those, you need this meat suit or body suit or the body or skin suit. I don't know. But this body is the only thing that is allowing us to experience life in the 3D. Anyone who don't have a body and that's here, they're ghosts. They're invisible. We can't see them because the only way you can be seen, you definitely can be seen, you know, if you're a ghost, by people who can see that shit, see through the veil. But like I said, this body, this vehicle is not yours. It is only used to navigate this life in the 3D. It's not yours. That's why it gets old. That's why you will see an old person probably in their 90s, but they have the spirit of a child. That's where you need to stay at all times. You need to be childlike at all times. That's what keeps you young. So don't ever let nobody tell you you too old to be acting like that. Bitch, this the first time I've been 30. I don't know how 30-year-olds supposed to act. This is my first time, honey. Don't tell me how I'm supposed to act at a certain age. Bitch, you act like that at the age when you turn that age. This is my first time being this age, so I'm going to figure out for myself what I like to do at this age. And if I still want to be a child, I'm going to be a fucking child or childlike. You know what I mean? It's the only thing that keeps you young. That's why I seen there was some beef or back and forth between the generations on TikTok a few months back, where this woman was talking about how she said millennials, she don't really, I don't know, in so many words she just said millennials are childish. That's probably why we look so young, because we act so young. And she was saying it in a way like it was a bad thing, honey. And she was a, I'm not sure what she was. She was a generation under millennials. We millennials were older. I don't know if she was a Gen X or Gen Z or whatever. But she was saying it like it was a bad thing, and it's like, okay, honey. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I just believe the more your spirit is childlike, the more younger you will look. And that's a good thing. If you could stay young, stay looking young in this fucking world, then you doing good from within. You're doing great. You're doing great more. You're doing better than a lot of people. You're doing better than a lot of people. A lot of people have these rules. They go by these invisible rules that was set and they just go by them. The only reason these rules work is because people abide by these rules. I need to act this way because I'm this age. Honey, the kids love freedom. The kids love me. That's why the kids love me. When I'm around kids, kids always gravitate to me because I have a childlike spirit. I play with the kids, I interact with children a lot. So that's the thing. So don't ever be ashamed because you are somewhat childlike. We got to be that. We have to be that, you know? So let me go ahead and finish. Although not being able to control, wait, although not being able to control when we begin to think can seem like we are cursed with an inevitable fate, it is not something to worry about because we can always return to the state of non thinking. It is just a part of our beautiful human experience. What can give us true peace is knowing that we always have this state of pure peace, love, and fulfillment underneath anything that we may ever have at any given moment. That beautiful state we always want is something we can never lose, but only forget. But just because we can forget it doesn't mean it's not there. Just like when it becomes night and the sun sets, we know the sun is always there. We just can't see it. If we think when the sun sets that it may never come back, then understandably, we will have a lot of anxious and fearful thoughts. The same is true for our state. We are ever only one moment away from remembering what we always have, that infinite well of clarity, love, joy, peace, and fulfillment. We will forget sometimes, but when we do, remember and realize that we are caught up in our thinking when we experience negative emotions. That alone will allow us to return home to our natural beautiful state. All we have to do is remember it. Know that this is just our thinking and have peace knowing that the sun is not gone forever and will rise again soon enough. Having that understanding will also allow us to appreciate the nighttime for its existence and role in the universe. From that, we can see how it is meant to be a part of our human experience and begin to cherish its beauty as much as the sun. Yeah, right. You can't really appreciate the sunrise without nighttime. People will say things like, I hate the nighttime, I only like the day or whatever. I don't know who said, I never heard nobody say that. That's just hypothetical. But in order to see the sunrise, the sun has have to set first. If the sun never sets, it will never rise. So you have to go through the nighttime. You got to go through the darkness. It's like a never ending cycle. In order to get to the light, you got to go through the darkness. Life shows us this every fucking day. Every day we go to sleep and every day we wake up. It's dark. Then the light. We won't have light without dark. There is no such thing as light without darkness. And there's no such thing as darkness with, I don't know. I ain't going to say that just yet. I ain't going to say that just yet. But there's no such thing as light without darkness. Darkness has always been here. The blackness, everything. When you close your eyes, that's always been here. Light can only show in darkness. Okay? That's why sometimes when you have a light, you have a calling on you, you have this glow about you, and you go into a room of negative motherfuckers, that's why they will single you out because they feel that energy. We are mirrors, and when you go into a room filled with low vibrational people, or even if you are even the other way around, but like I said, if you go into a room full of low vibrational people and you have this light on you, it's going to remind all those people in there that they're dark. They don't need to be, they don't like to see themselves. People don't like to be reminded of themselves. And sometimes when you are around, they get reminded that, damn, I ain't doing shit with myself. Damn. That it makes them look at themselves. So a lot of times people don't hate you for you. They just hate you because you make them see who they really are. You make them look in the mirror. Your existence, you just think you don't even have to say nothing. You just being in the room makes them look themselves in the mirror. And there's nothing you can do about it. People are going to hate you because you hold up a mirror to them. You can't control that. You just you. And you being you, like I said, will cause people to dislike you because you being you makes them realize what they're doing wrong or realize what they're lacking, realize that they ain't doing shit with themselves, you know? For I'm gonna give you all another example. Let's say a father come to this place with his 3 kids, and he comes, and he sees a guy he knows has 3 kids, but this guy didn't bring his kids to the event. He came to have fun, but it's a kid event. He's going to feel some kind of way about that father who brought his 3 kids because he know this father with the kids is basically holding up a mirror to this man without his kids. And now this man is feeling guilty, like, damn, I got kids now. This man probably looking at me because men are insecure. They care about male validation so much. He's thinking like, damn, he's probably thinking I'm a deadbeat dad. He know I got 3 kids. I should have brought my kids here. And so it makes people look them. Sometimes you just existing in a room with people, it makes these people look at themselves. It makes them realize what they're doing, and they don't like that. People do not like to look themselves in the mirror because they don't like what they see. And so you being around make them see themselves. So they just rather you not be around because they don't want to see the truth. That's just how it goes. So we're gonna see if let me see something real quick. You don't win by wrestling thoughts. You stop feeding them. When you let thinking settle like mud and water, right? Your natural baseline, calm, clarity, intuition comes back online. Thinking versus thoughts. A thought can rise. Suffering begins when we keep thinking about it. Like I said earlier, a thought can come into your mind, but once you start thinking about that thought, that's when all the torment start happening, or good things, because you can think about a good thought, you know. So but a lot of it's easier to think about negative thoughts because we live in a negative world. Understood, the negativity of this world is popular. The negativity is just, it just goes further. Most people are attracted to the negative, and I understand. I totally understand. um Non-thinking equal blank mind. It's non-engagement, allowing thoughts to pass without chasing them. So for example, if you're in a relationship and you're with a man or a woman who never gave you a reason to think that they're cheating, and that thought just come across your mind, you could just let that thought come and go. But it's you chasing after that thought. Why am I thinking this? He might be cheating. Is he cheating? Is she cheating? And so when you're focused on that negative or that cheating thought, that's when the universe steps in and say, "Oh, you're focused. Let me send you more thoughts on the same frequency as that thought." Excuse me. So that's how the universe works. Feeling is your dashboard. Tight, urgent, pressured feelings usually mean you're in overthinking. Relaxed, expansive feeling signals clarity is near. Clarity is subtractive. You don't add more techniques, you remove mental interference. So insight can surface, okay? Intuition over analysis. Useful next steps often show up once the mental noise drops. How to stop thinking in practice. Um let's see. Okay, I am, I'm gonna cut it short. So the moral of this chapter is you don't need more positive thoughts. You need less thinking. Because thoughts are just gonna come whether positive or negative. And it's your focus on that specific thought that caused thinking. And if the thought is a negative thought, your thinking is going to be negative, which is going to cause your environment in a negative experience in your environment, in your energy field. Okay. So I'm feeling really, really good right now. I don't know why I'm feeling this good, but something just came. I don't know. Something just came and I'm feeling really, really good. I feel at peace right now in this moment, and I am truly appreciated. Right, Grandma? I feel at peace. Like, I don't know. I feel good right now. Can't nobody tell me anything right now. I feel powerful. And you know what I think is because I ain't had no dick. I ain't had no dick. That's what it is. The longer you go without dick, the powerful you become. I'm telling you, a dickless woman, dangerous, dangerous. Oh my. I don't know. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in to Free World TV. This is Free Your Mind Book Club. Thank you for tuning in to Free Your Mind Book Club. Um, and like I always say, through every struggle, a statement is made. It's your girl, Free. And I'm out. Peace. I will see y'all when I see y'all.